Today, we're diving into one of the most desperate battles of the Yom Kippur War. But this isn't just a story about tanks and tactics. It's a battle that ends with a mystery so profound it really blurs the line between warfare and, well, something else entirely. It's a story about impossible odds and a climax that some people say can't be explained by military strategy alone. Okay, let's just jump right to the most critical moment, the absolute knife's edge. Picture this. After 4 days of nonstop, brutal fighting, the Israeli defense in a key part of the Golan Heights is down to just 3 working tanks. 3. And what are they facing? A fresh wave of 150 Syrian tanks rolling right for them, ready to break through and change the entire war. And this is the core question we're looking at today. The Syrians had it in the bag. They outnumbered the defenders 50-1. So why, at the exact moment of victory, did they just stop, turn their tanks around, and leave? The official military explanation is one thing, but the reason given by their own commander, well, that's a whole other story. So to really get how things got so desperate and honestly so strange, we've got to rewind to the beginning of the battle for the Golan Heights. This is the fight that would eventually earn the name the Valley of Tears. It all kicks off on October 6th, 1973. It's Yom Kippur, the most sacred day in Judaism, a day of peace and fasting. And then that silence is just shattered by air raid sirens. A massive, coordinated surprise attack was on. While Egypt was hitting from one side, Syrian tanks were just pouring across the Golan Heights. Israel was caught completely, totally off guard. And just look at the sheer imbalance of power from minute one. Up on the Golan, Syria rolls in with a massive force of 700 tanks. And defending that entire front, a single Israeli brigade with just 175. That's a 4-1 disadvantage before a single shot was even fired. The odds were staggering. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse. The Syrian infantry had a secret weapon, brand new Soviet-made anti-tank missiles. The Israelis had no idea they were in the Arab arsenal, and this tech had a catastrophic effect on their tanks. So now you have a huge numbers disadvantage and a terrifying technological surprise. But, battles aren't just fought with numbers and technology. As the Syrian army pushed deeper and deeper, the entire outcome of the war started to rest on the shoulders of a few incredibly brave individuals. Let's talk about Battalion Commander Avigdor Kahalani. His unit was exhausted, demoralized. He calls for them to charge, and he goes. But when he looks back, he's totally alone. His men hadn't followed. So what does he do? He keeps going. He takes out a Syrian tank, then another one at point-blank range. But as a third one aims right at him, his guns jam. He's a sitting duck. And in that exact moment, the Syrian tank explodes, hit by Kahalani's own men who, seeing his insane bravery, finally rallied and charged in to save him. And then you've got this guy, Lieutenant Zvika Greengold. His story is just wild. He wasn't even with a unit when the war started. He literally hitchhikes 78 miles to his base. And when he gets there, it's just chaos. Wounded soldiers, wrecked tanks, nothing left to fight with. But Zvika doesn't quit. He finds 2 beat-up tanks, slaps together a crew, and radios his commanders that the Zvika Force was ready. The Zvika Force. It was basically just him. For the next 20 hours, often completely by himself, he fights this brilliant one-man war. He uses the darkness, racing his tank up one hill, firing, then racing down and up another to fire again, making the Syrians think they were fighting a whole company of tanks. He held up entire divisions. And the result? Get this. Zvika Greengold was personally credited with destroying over 60 enemy tanks. 60, all by himself. It's one of the most incredible feats in modern military history, and for it, he received Israel's highest honor, the Medal of Valor. The actions of men like Kahalani and Zvika were absolutely heroic, but they were just buying time. By the 4th day of the battle, the Israeli defense was at its absolute breaking point. And that's what set the stage for the final, truly unbelievable moments of this fight. So let's go back to that critical moment. Despite all the heroism, after 4 days of hell, all that was left of the Israeli defense in the Valley of Tears was down to its last 3 working tanks. And facing them, that fresh Syrian force of 150 tanks started to roll forward. This should have been it. Game over. The breakthrough was happening. And then, the inexplicable. the Syrian tanks just stopped. And to the absolute shock of the Israeli defenders, they turned around and retreated. So why, right? Why would an overwhelming force on the very edge of a massive victory just give up? For years, this was a huge military mystery. But the answer, when it finally came, was from a totally unexpected source, and it offered a truly extraordinary explanation. So after the war, Israeli intelligence gets to interrogate the captured commander of the Syrian division that led that final charge. And they ask him the one question that had been baffling everybody. Why did you stop? And his answer? Well, it's not something you'll find in any military textbook. The commander replied, and I'm quoting directly here, "I would like to see you try, while you see a whole host of white angels standing right on the missile lines and a white hand from heaven telling you to stop right there and move no further." I mean, wow, a divine vision. That was his official reason for ordering the retreat. So this leaves us with two profoundly different ways to look at what happened. On the one hand, you have the conventional military reality. The Syrians took heavy losses, they were tricked by brilliant tactics, and they made a massive strategic blunder. But on the other hand, you have the direct testimony of the man who gave the order, an account of a supernatural event, so powerful it made him halt an attack that would have won him the battle. But no matter what you believe was the reason for the retreat, the battle was finally won. And that victory, whether it was secured by human grit or a divine miracle, came at a staggering cost. The victory on the Golan was secured, but the cost for Israel across the whole war was just heartbreaking. I mean, look at these numbers. Over 2,600 soldiers lost their lives. 9,000 more were wounded. It was a victory measured in profound loss. In the aftermath, the battlefields, which was just littered with the smoking wrecks of hundreds of tanks, was given a new name, Emek Habaha, which is Hebrew for the Valley of Tears. Today, a memorial called Oz 77 stands there, honoring the soldiers who fought and fell. And so we're left with this question. What really turned the tide in the Valley of Tears? Was it the unbelievable, almost superhuman courage of men like Kalahani and Zvika? Was it a simple strategic miscalculation, a mistake made in the fog of war? Or was it, as one enemy commander swore he saw, something else entirely? A true miracle. The story? Well, it leaves us all to wonder.